What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I got a brand new Sig Sauer X10, P320 X10, and I wanted to try shooting this with the normal recoil spring that came with it, but then also to help with the recoil and handling of the gun, I bought this DPM Recoil Reduction System here. It comes with 3 springs and then 3 spring plug forces, or that have different forces on there. So we're gonna try each of the springs and different combinations of the plugs, which will be about 9 different tests. And I have 3 different types of ammunition. We got the Blazer, Sellier, Belloit, Freedom Munitions, all 180 grain. And then I also have this 200 grain Sig Sauer V Crown, because typically the 10mm that I'm able to find is all in the 180 grain. That's going to be the standard target round that I'm going to be shooting at the range anyway, so I might as well stick with that. There are different grains and that you could play with and see what might also work best for you, but that's what we're doing today because that's all I have. So to get started though, we need a control, right? So we're going to use the original spring, recoil spring and everything stock. The only thing I did differently though is I installed already the Max Michel Competition Series spring kit for the trigger basically. So over here in the spring or the sear pin, I just took out the stock springs. There's 2 of them in there and I just replaced it with only 1 of the lighter ones that came in the packaging, and then also the reset spring. I did not adjust anything with the over travel buffer that it comes with as well, because this has basically no over travel anyway, and it's not for this gun's not for competition. I just wanted to lighten up the spring. So anyway, let's go ahead and get loaded up here. I thought I brought enough ammunition as far as cellular and Belloit. That's the only one I'm a little bit short on. So I wanted to do 5 round tests on each one of them, but I think I'm going to only be able to do 3 shot averages with the cellular and Belloit, because I brought half a box and thought I'd have enough there. But anyway, we'll keep 3 in the mag for the cellular and Belloit, and then we'll do 5. If I can do 5 for the rest of them, we'll keep it like that then. So here's Blazer original spring. We got the Mantis X10, by the way, of course, to check the recoil analysis. So we'll turn that on, and then we'll connect the Mantis app here. I'm doing this cold. I have not warmed up on any other guns or ammunition or done any other shooting. So, all right, Mantis is live. We got just a seal plate, maybe about 10 yards, nothing fancy, just to hit something, but we're not trying to shoot accuracy or distance shots. We're just checking recoil, right? So let's give it a shot. We're loaded. Oh, that lighter trigger kind of surprised me. I have not shot this gun. This is the very first time I ever shot this gun, first day out at the range with it. So I gotta get more ready with that. But anyway, let's see what the average muzzle rise was. 16.36. It actually wasn't too bad. The target looks not too bad either. A couple of them, almost on top of each other. I was still trying to hit that. Once I hit that first shot in the middle there, I tried to keep aiming at it. But I got a little bit low there. We'll improve that. So okay, that's Blazer with the original spring. Now we have cellular and Belloit. I can only do 3 shots of this. They're all 180 grains, by the way. We'll do cellular and Belloit, 3 shots with the original spring. Put that there real quick so I can save this. So it's Blazer with original spring. All right, we got the cellular and Belloit. What do you call it? S and B, I guess. Cellular and Belloit, 180 grain, only 3 shots, only just because I don't have enough ammunition for all of the spring combinations. I have a little bit extra, but we might be able to throw them in. I'm more interested in seeing what it looks like with the other springs. Or actually, let's do an actual 5 round, sorry. And then for when I do the spring test, we can reduce it maybe with 3. It's always good to have a good control, I think. All right, we got one in the chamber. Let's try again, and this time not be too surprised with that trigger. Average muzzle rise, 24. I think it's because the last one was wild. I don't know why. Couple 20s, and then 2 in the 14 and 18, and the last one 49. I don't know. It's a flyer, huh? But it is what it is. That's the data. Save it. Sellier and Belloit has a little bit more recoil, it feels like. Not just feels like it, but judging by the data, it does. Original spring. All right, reset. And then I have the Freedom Munitions. Just 4 different types of ammunition: Blazer, Freedom Munitions, Sellier, and Belloit. And then the hollow points, Sig V Crown 200 grain. Actually, let's do another one. I have a 180 grain version of that Sellier and Belloit too. 180 grain, these are the ones that have the sticker on there that say that there's no more nickel, everything's produced with brass. So we have an extra box of ammunition to do a good test on here as well. So, okay, this is Freedom Munitions, 5 rounds, and we're gonna hit start, and we'll go again here. Why does that say 120 degrees muzzle rise? There's no way. Why is the last shot always high as heck? First one was 4.29, then 14 and 18. I mean, it felt really good in my hands, but might have to think about deleting the outliers, but we'll see. If they all have outliers, then I guess we just include them. Freedom Munitions, original spring. So I've shot all of the FMJs, and now we got the Sig V Crown 180 grain brass casings. Obviously there I don't have enough either, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know how I'm gonna do this one because I don't have enough ammunition to do 5 rounds all the time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, I have enough to do 2 rounds for each test. All right. Well, I don't know what happened there. Why did it stay locked open? Maybe I think maybe the recoil made my thumb hit that slide stop up there. Average muzzle rise 23.84, I guess. All right, 180 V Crown, original spring. And then we got the 200 grain V Crown, 2 rounds again. I'm hoping, you know, the heavier grain has lower recoil and velocity and everything. I mean, it has lower velocity. That felt good. Average muzzle rise 10.27. That wasn't too bad. All right, 200 V Crown, original spring. Okay, everything's good there. Now we have to switch out the spring, which is quite simple, obviously, on the P320. Take your slide off, take the recoil spring out. I think everybody knows how to do this. So, but anyway, before you install it, let's go over quickly how this system works. So I'm just going to grab one of each of the spring and the plug and the guide rods. So here's the guide rod that it comes with in the kit, and you have, you know, all the extra spring inside as well for further dampening. So I'm not going to put this on real quick because I want to explain this plug. If you see this little lip here, when this plug, pretend there's a spring in there and it gets compressed during the recoil. When it gets all the way down into here, this plug catches this lip here on the larger diameter part of this guide rod, and then it'll push, and I can't really do it on camera, but it'll push then this other spring in to kind of dampen it even more. So these plugs have different heights in them so that they are activated at different times. You have a short, medium, and tall one, if you can see them. But anyways, when you get the kit, you'll see that, but maybe take a good picture and put that on the screen here next. On the packaging, it tells you then, here, I'll take a picture of it as well for you, put on the screen, but we have the short, medium, and long springs, and the short is 8 pounds, 8.1, medium 8.8, long 9.4. You can read that on the screen. But so basically, I have 9 combinations here that I can play with. We're going to start with the short spring first. On the short spring, take your spring and just slide it over like that. Take a plug, and we'll do also the short plug like that. And then it just goes into your slide like normal, just like you do your other one. Push down, and it's not too hard to put in there. Your plug will look like this in there. You can kind of see that. And so we'll do all of the tests all over again with the same ammunition. and see which one gives us the best feel for recoil, okay? So 5 rounds of the Blazer right now. Start the Mantis X10 and we're ready to go here with Blazer 180 grain with a short spring and short plug. I don't know why, but I only registered 3 shots. 2 more in here. It's on and everything, okay. Try this again. Okay, disconnected itself. 1 second. Now it's not calibrating. Okay, finally. We're gonna do this all over again. I'm wasting ammo, right? Next time, be prepared like I normally am. This is an off day for me, apparently. Okay, 5 rounds, Blazer 180 grain, short spring, short plug, recoil meter started. Oh my gosh. Why did it stop already?
Sorry guys, I just had to cut the shooting portion short on this video just because I was having a lot of problems with the Mantis and I was getting really frustrated with it not staying connected. It wasn't calibrating and all that stuff. I was getting all kinds of haywire results there. So I did go back another day to complete the test. I mean, I stopped it there and I went home and got some more ammunition and I went back to the range to try and get some more Mantis data. So I struggled with that and eventually I got enough data, I think, that we could make a final analysis at the end of the video. But right now I also want to take a little bit of time to really quickly go over the DPM recoil springs, how they work, and we'll get back to the video. But I just want to kind of show you guys how this system is working in the P320 X10 here. So when you get the DPM recoil springs, you'll have it in this box here. It'll come with a fancy little pamphlet inside that has more instructions inside, and then you get this actual card that is specific to your spring weights and everything. But this is what it looks like, and I'll have pictures of it at the end of this video if you guys want to take more time looking at it. So let's look at the springs here. So this was a little bit confusing for me to kind of understand how this is working until I figured it out here. So for the spring force, it shows here that you have the short, medium, and long spring. So here, obviously, you line them up at one end, and you have the short, medium, and long. The medium one is this gold-looking one, and then they have different weights, right? So the short one is going to be an 8.1 pounded spring, and the medium one is 8.8 pounds, and then you got the 9.4 pounds on the long spring. And so you also get these 3 plugs that come inside the kit here. You have a short plug, a medium plug, and a long plug. And each one of these are going to give you also different results on the weight. So the short one will be 23.5 additional pounds, 26.8 on the medium, and 30.8. So the way this works is, we'll just grab an example. We have the short spring, and we'll put it all the way on to the guide rod, and then you have this plug. Now, when this plug goes back, it compresses this first spring here, right? Now I can't compress it all the way, but let's say that during recoil, pretend the spring is still in here, it's going to keep going until it catches this lip here on this guide rod. Once it does that, then now it's going to activate this smaller spring and compress that. So the idea behind how this explains everything is the spring force slide on the battery is the force that's holding this slide closed. Now, when the slide starts to go back, you're activating that big spring, right? And then once the plug activates this lip here on the guide rod, you'll start activating that second spring inside there. And once it's about halfway like this or whatever and goes all the way back, this is the slide full open position, which means now you have all of the weight on the spring and the inner spring of the guide rod. So you can play around with different combinations of these springs so that you can fine tune what you want. So this longer plug will activate the inner spring of the guide rod sooner than this shorter spring. So that's why you see heavier poundage here, because you're going to now compress this inner spring a lot sooner and also a lot more than you would if you had the short plug in. And then obviously the medium will also be a little bit in between. So that's how this system works. I hope that explains a little bit more, and it does really work pretty well, I think. So I hope that clarified some things how this system works, and we'll get back to the video, and up next will be the Mantis recoil data that I've compiled all into the Excel tables. So I hope you enjoy the rest of the video. So here is the Mantis X10 data for the original spring so that I could have a control of where the original recoil spring stands. I was able to actually get good tests with the Mantis, in this case for my test that I wanted. 5 rounds of each 180 grain ammo type and 2 rounds each of the Sig V-Crown ammo. You can see the averages in the gray rows of each round, and then at the bottom in green, the overall averages of them all combined. The muzzle rise is 29.99 degrees, and that's where I'll typically put my focus. The other ones are important as well, such as the recovery time, which means how fast can you get the sights back on target or level after each shot, and the recoil width and recoil angles will be supplementary for me. Meaning they aren't big factors for me judging recoil, but the strength of recoil will affect how my hands are moving in each shot, whether they move my hands wide or up or down at a large angle. So let's move on now to the DPM recoil springs. This took a lot of time to compile the data as there were so many shots that I needed to take and gather evidence for. As I mentioned, I was having problems with the Mantis X10 either staying connected to the app, not calibrating, or measuring really wild values. So I did the best I could. If I wasn't able to get 5 shots each or 2 shots each of the V-Crowns, I used whatever leftover ammo I had to try and get enough data for the averages, which is around at least 15 shots, and that was typically the Blazer brass ammo. Unfortunately though, I ran out of ammo for the heavy and long plug due to redoing shots since the Mantis was not cooperating. But I got 11 shots total at least for that test. All of the FMJs were 180 grain, so I think the test can be acceptable as they are similar in weights and velocity. So again, here's all of the data. I won't go into detail with them all, as you can see the same principles were applied with the averages. If I had a negative muzzle rise though, I ignored that in my averages, and if you want to see the data longer, just hit the pause button. So let's get to the summary at the end. I took all of the averages and put them in its own table with a fancy bar graph as well. This makes the data a little easier to read and understand. The original or the control is at the top of the table and all of the DPM springs and plug combinations below it. Some of the numbers are quite close to each other. For example, the medium spring and medium plug are similar in muzzle rise, but the best overall on muzzle rise was the medium spring and long plug, while the heavy spring and long plug gave the worst of results. This could be because the heavy spring is so heavy that it's resisting the slide going back, and then the long plug activates the inner spring in the guide rod sooner, furthering putting pressure on the spring and then your hand feeling it harsher. Keep in mind, when the long plug is activated, that's 30.8 pounds of resistance. The recovery time though is quicker, meaning that the spring pushes the slide forward faster. For competition, it's good, but the X10 pistol won't be used for that, so I don't focus on that number. I also chose the medium spring and medium plug because the recoil is the second best out of the batch and doesn't seem to make my hand go haywire. But the recoil width is the worst, which isn't good for competition or quick follow-up shots because you want that muzzle to just go up and come back down in a straight line. Maybe I'm fighting the gun or recoil and that's what is causing it, so there could be some improvement from my side. There are just so many combinations and trials that it's hard to just go by feel only when deciding which spring and plug combination to use. So I think it's a good idea to get actual or factual data from the Mantis X10 recoil analysis, when it works obviously, to help you in your decision. So now with this information from the Mantis X10, I can shoot more trials narrowing down the options with the lowest recoils and kind of go more by feel than on what I finally decide. But for now, I'm using the medium spring with the long plug. In the end though, these DPM recoil reduction springs do actually work, and they're not a gimmick, and I think they are worth the money if you want to help manage the recoil in your system, because compared to the control, the numbers are mostly lower in all aspects, except for maybe the heavy spring and long plug, but perhaps my grip was tired from shooting for a couple of hours doing this test, and I got worn out. Who knows, but you can always do the tests again to see how they feel.
Sorry about how bad that video turned out. I think, you know, I'm just gonna have to get creative here, go by off of what I feel, and do anything that didn't have the Mantis data. I mean, I'll still put the Mantis data at the end. You can kind of see what data I was able to get maybe, and have a better maybe idea of or conclusion of what maybe looks best. But there's some, you know, this basically with this long spring and that the plungers or the plugs, I think felt good. Felt better maybe than the other ones. It just wasn't able to get good data. So hopefully we can kind of see the details of the data in the slow motion test if I can do that. So anyway, overall, I think this system is really great. It actually does dampen the recoil from what I felt. I think I will stick with either the medium spring or the long spring, you know, the medium poundage spring or the heavy spring, with probably, you know, if I did the heavy spring, I'd probably go with the short plunger, and then with the medium, maybe go with also the medium plunger there. But I think I'll have better details of that when I look at the Mantis data, at least to kind of get a little bit more understanding of how this looks based off, instead of just only going by feel, right? In general, I think it's a great system. Go ahead and get one of these for any of your guns that they have listed on the website. If you're having issues with recoil, or you want better controllability or faster follow-up shots, or, you know, just to have a better feeling gun. And then try different types of ammo as well with it and see where you're at. But this is the video for the Sig Sauer P320 X10 with all different kinds of ammunition, but at least the majority of them were all 180 grain, so at least the test is somewhat consistent there, so that if we did have missing data, at least we still have some data from other ammunition that we were able to get from. But at the end of the day, it's all 180 grain. It's pretty consistent as far as the velocities and things like that. So guys, if you like this video, go ahead and click like and subscribe. If you have any comments or questions, go ahead and leave them in the comment section, and we'll get back to you the next time, okay? So thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next video.